The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selina MacKenzie.
Now we're going to hear the heartbreaking yet inspirational memoir now by Sarah Corbett Lynch, daughter of Jason Corbett, who was killed in North California in 2015. She bravely joins us now. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Now, I know this is tough, but can you take us back to that morning of the 2nd of August 2015, what you remember?
It was just a normal day. It was a sunny day. My dad mowed the lawn and I went to horse riding, and we were just hanging out with our neighbours, and Molly went across the road to get something from our house, and my dad asked her to grab something, and she said, yeah, if my parents can come over. And then before we knew it, her parents were driving into our driveway.
And Molly was your stepmother?
Yes.
Right.
My mom passed away when I was 12 weeks old, and Molly came into our lives as the au pair.
Ah, okay. And then had a relationship with your father and became your stepmom?
Yes.
So it's a terrible story, but what happened? What had Molly done?
Molly was very manipulative, and she pitted me and my brother against each other and isolated us from our dad, and in various different ways, from, deciding one day that I was her favorite and Jack was her favorite the next day. And, she would make us feel like our dad didn't want to come to our swim meets when he did. She would not send him the schedules. And it was really difficult because we were all affected by it, and me and Jack were so young, so we really didn't understand what was happening until, we got older and we moved into a normal house.
Sounds like she's doing the classic gaslighting.
Yes.
And of course, she's the only real sort of mother figure you've ever known, so she should have been a lot more caring, shouldn't she? Let's face it.
Yeah, I mean, what mother tells their 5-year-old that your dad is a bad man? And, how could a mother have her child spy on her own dad or visitors who came to stay?
And what about Molly's father? Was it Tom, Molly's father?
Yes, he was.
Do you want to just explain what happened? They together killed your father, I believe.
Yes, they did. When I was 8 years old and Jack was 10.
And do you know why that happened?
No. No, I don't know.
Do you remember it? I know it was like the early hours of the morning, and as you say, you were only 8 and Jack was 10, but do you remember anything like the police coming or anything like that?
I remember being woken up by the police, and I got given 2 options, that I could be carried down the stairs or I had to walk down the stairs with my eyes closed. And I was feeling very sick, so I was feeling very dizzy and woozy, and it felt like I was on a moving boat. And I decided to get carried down the stairs, and the officer picked me up, and it was like there was loads of people downstairs. I could hear the fuzzing of police walkie-talkies and talking and boots on the floor. But when we neared the bottom of the stairs, everything went silent. And then when we got to the basement door, it was like everyone just reappeared and all the noise came back. And the police officers brought us down to the basement where Molly's mother, Sharon, was staying. And she was just sitting in the bed reading a book. And, it didn't appear that she was in any way worried or distressed. So it was hard for me and Jack to understand the actual severity of what was going on, because when we asked her what was going on, she told us just to wait till the police came back.
Right, okay. And was it known straight away that Molly and her father had done it? Were they arrested straight away, or did they go on the run? Or
no, they were not arrested. They were brought in for questioning by the police, and then they were sent home, and me and Jack were put into their custody, and we were living with the Martins for about 2 weeks after it happened.
But you didn't know at this stage that they'd done it, I assume.
I did. Molly and Tom came into the basement a few hours after me and Jack had been brought there by the police, and Molly told me that she and my dad got in an argument and that she pushed him. He fell and hit his head.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you stayed with them for 2 weeks. Then what happened? Did you go to another family member's?
So yes, the Martins weren't family members of ours, and we stayed with them in Molly's brother's house for 2 weeks until Tracy and David, my dad's sister and husband-in-law, flew from Ireland to get custody of me and Jack. Because my dad had stated in his will that he wanted his sister Tracy to have guardianship of us if anything were to happen to him. And thankfully that was in his will.
Right. Okay. I can't imagine, Sarah, the traumatic years after your father's dead for you and Jack. I mean, I know that the good thing that it's instilled a burning desire to you to campaign for other bereaved children's and for victims' rights. So well done you on that.
Thank you. I think it's really important because I've gone through my trauma and I'm healing and I'm in a safe place. I'm in a safe home. But, there is a lot of people out there who are going through this or who have gone through this, and they might feel like they have no voice. But, the book does have the dedication in it for those who have been denied a chance to tell their story. And I think it's important that they know they should talk to someone who they trust.
That's the interesting thing as well, because I was reading that you and Jack weren't able to tell your story. Everybody else seemed to be telling it in the newspaper, in the media. Your words were twisted, and you wanted to put the record straight. Yeah,
I mean, we were under a gag order, which is basically means you can't speak about anything to do with the case. And we asked to give evidence, and we weren't allowed to give evidence. And, that's kind of the reason why I wanted to write the book, because I never had a voice and I wanted the world to know the truth about my dad, his kindness and his compassion, and his loss in my life can never be replaced. And it's also important for me to shine a light on issues like coercive control, manipulation and gaslighting. And I wanted my book to humanize our experiences and reach the people who need support, to share that there is hope and healing.
Yeah, well done you. And I think this started at a pretty early age, because just at the age of 13, so I guess 5 years later, you actually wrote and illustrated a book that has helped other children, that's been adopted by children's rights groups.
Yeah, I wrote Noodle Loses Dad. And at the beginning, it was just for me. I wrote it outside one of my friends' houses, and I read it to my parents, Tracy and David, and I decided that I wanted to help other kids feel less alone, because I remember that I felt like I was the only person in the world that was dealing with what I was going through. And I think it's important people understand that even though sometimes kids might not understand what's going on, we still feel it. We still know that something's wrong. We still feel the hurt. We might not be able to vocalize it, or articulate it, but you can still feel it. And I thought that was really important. And especially I realized that nobody talks about death, not in schools, not, at home. And it is going to everybody is going to die at some stage. And it's important to open up about it and have an open conversation.
Yeah, very important. Now, I was interviewing actually somebody last week, a paediatrician, who said it's important to speak and explain all about death to children. They won't get frightened away. They're cleverer than you realise. It's better than not talking to them.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. So are they still in prison? I hope they are.
No, the Martins were released in 2023. 2024, sorry. And they've been free since then. They only had a few more months on, they only got added a few more months onto their sentence.
Blimey, that must have been a tough day as well when you knew they were released for you and Jack.
Yeah, it was really difficult, because, you know, nothing can ever bring my dad back, but 4.5 years is not enough. It was devastating for us.
I'm sure. Well, listen, you're a survivor, Sarah, and I'm hoping Jack is the same. I expect he's proud of you for writing the book.
Yeah, he is. He's very supportive.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I know how difficult it is for you to talk about this, so thank you for being on the show. But we are selling your book right now on our website, tre.radio. It's in our virtual bookshop. And for our listeners, you can buy it. It's called A Time for Truth, My Father Jason and My Search for Justice and Healing. And it's by Sarah Corbett Lynch. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah.
Thank you for having me on.
You have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.